Suspected Boko Haram militants have carried out multiple suicide bombings on the outskirts of Maiduguri, which was once a Boko Haram stronghold. According to witnesses, the attackers detonated their bombs near a large refugee camp where crowds of displaced people were gathering around trucks that were to ferry them home in a convoy. The Borno State Emergency Management Agency said 8 members of a local militia, the Civilian Joint Task Force, were wounded in the attack. The Islamist group's insurgency has killed over 10,000 people and forced 2 million more from their homes. Last December, Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari said the extremist group had been crushed after the capture of a key camp in its Sambisa forest base.
About 4 heavy suicide bombers tried to detonate, but the military repelled them, and we have no so far recorded any civilian casualties, and they have been successfully repelled the two, and the two that find their way to sneak into the town, and still they died without any civilian casualties. But unfortunately they jumped to some loaded vehicles around Muna that are preparing to go to Ngala tomorrow, and this is so far what happened.
Well, to give us more information on this latest attack, we're now joined by CGTN's Deji Badmus, live for us in Lagos, Nigeria. Deji, what we're looking at, of course, is a multiple suicide attack on returning refugees. What are authorities there saying about what seems to be a new strategy for Boko Haram, and in particular about the target this time around?
Well, we haven't had any official statement yet from the government, but you know, all that the government has been saying, because this is actually not the first time that suspected Boko Haram elements now would be carrying out bombing attacks in recent times. What the government has been saying before now is that Boko Haram no doubt appears to be adopting a new strategy. That's it's like a guerrilla warfare, and the government has always warned that even though Boko Haram had been defeated militarily, that we were still going to have attacks like this, that Boko Haram would still want to create fear, that it was still a potent force and all of that. And security experts too have been explaining that this is the kind of thing you would see, that it would take a while before all of this dies down, and that what is needed at this time is actually intelligence gathering to nip all of this in the bud. That what you need is effective intelligence gathering and not really military action, so to speak, because some of these Boko Haram elements live with the people, and they come out from among the people now to carry out attacks of this nature. But in terms of what is happening, Boko Haram targeting refugees, the message might just be that Boko Haram is trying to prevent these people from going back to their homes, you know, to resume their normal lives. But then the government has been asking people not to bother, and that people should just be vigilant and watch out for any unusual thing now happening around them. That what it calls for at this moment is vigilance. And of course, as security experts have been explaining, intelligence gathering is also very crucial at this moment to stop attacks of this nature.
Now, Deji, some might look at Boko Haram's latest attacks as the signs of a desperate militant group, but others might say this is a group that is just simply far from being defeated. What has this done to the confidence of regular Nigerians as far as their belief that the government is on track in defeating Boko Haram?
Well, the government continues to maintain that it has defeated Boko Haram, at least militarily, and that what we're having now, it's normal, that it's something you see in, you know, even in other countries too that have faced similar experience, I mean, that have been involved in insurgency. And there's no question at all that if we continue to have attacks like this on a consistent basis, especially for the people of Borno State and some other areas that have been affected by this insurgency, if you continue to have attacks like this on a consistent basis, it will definitely dampen their confidence that the military is on top of the situation. But what the government and the military is saying is that people should not bother at all, that it's normal, and that people should just be vigilant, and that is just a matter of time all of this will end. And there's also no doubt that the frequency of Boko Haram bombing has actually gone down compared to what we used to have in the past, even though we're beginning to see some sign of, well, what I want to call a resurgence. But the government says it is on top of the situation. I don't think the confidence of the people is dampened. But there's no question, Lindy, that if this continues on a consistent basis and we continue to have this, say, on a weekly basis, then people will begin to develop that fear. And that, confidence will certainly disappear, especially for those who actually want to go back to their communities and start life all over again. And there's no question at all too that it will affect a government's plan to resettle displaced people now across the state, especially in those communities that were seriously affected now by the Boko Haram insurgency. But then, as I said earlier, security experts have said this is normal and that the terrorists would want to resort to guerrilla warfare tactics, and that what is needed at this time is serious intelligence gathering to prevent Boko Haram from carrying out attacks of this nature.
Well, Deji Badmus, thank you very much for that update, joining us there live from Lagos, Nigeria.